II, it was installed or taken or constructed by settlers. When any of the families in the colonies get a new baby, they take the baby here, they bring him here for the blessing. I do remember this site when we were kids, we were coming through this window to light a vigil. You know, in all religions, people do believe in if you light a vigil, you can wish a wish or something like that. But even when we constructed this one a few years ago, we were like Palestinians, they constructed it and painted it. The color of painting was red, not red, green. Green. The Islamic one is green. So the Israelis called and said you have 24 hours to change the color. So we changed the color, and right now the color, as you can see from outside, it's white. So we don't have any control here. It's in the heart of the city of Nablus, and how far from Balata? It's like 5 minutes walking. And Balata refugee camp is the most overcrowded refugee camp. Right now we are going to another refugee camp, which is not the most overcrowded refugee camp, but every day there are clashes between the Israelis and settlers here whenever the Israelis enter this site. When the settlers get in here, they get in by big numbers, and they cause chaos here, and they keep shooting. And the moment after their arrival, the neighbors start throwing stones and doing this kind of confrontations with the Israelis. This is the whole story about this site, but it gives you an idea about how much control we have on the city of Nablus. You can apply the same story in the city of Bethlehem. When we visit Bethlehem, there is another shrine for the mother of Joseph, Rachel. Similar story, but in Bethlehem, they confiscated a huge area called Rachel area, and it became part of Jerusalem, which is inside the city of Bethlehem. They annexed it to the city of Bethlehem. They tried to do the same in Nablus, but luckily we have two huge refugee camps on their way. They can't annex the refugee camps to the settlements.
First line of defense for the city.
That's all about here. Let's go to the bus.
Perquè penso, dic, home, realment que el vegi gent internacional, em sembla. Sí. We're now going to a refugee camp. Yeah.
To this one by bumping destroying the walls by using the mini bumps. Now we can see some of them. Come on, please. You can see what's going on in the home. And they are stealing them. No, not the Israelis. This is like the buffer zone between this facility of this building and this one. You can see it's just 1 meter here and half a meter over there. So windows, from windows you can see what your neighbor is doing. Here, this one was reconstructed, as you can see.
Federica, I'm following you.
Barn eller altså når familien forøges, så bygger man typisk ovenpå og ud.
Get closer, please. Celebrating the release of few of the imprisoned refugees. يعني عمالنا بنخلص بالجولة بدنا نشوف بس هالدار هون ونمشي باتجاهك، بدها 10 دقائق ماشي من مخيم عسكري قديم للجديد صح؟ بتذكر يوم من
Like everything, the older generation does this, not like the new generation, like the guys and girls wake up at like 11 or 12.
Yes.
Spanish.
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 Yes. Español. Iniesta? Yes, Iniesta, yeah. So they say, okay, yeah, 13 seconds, 14, yeah. So they say like from second 8 to second 12, yeah. This is the point, yeah. And then
It's quite an interesting place, actually.
yeah,
I thought Allah would actually do a piece on it.
it's a Muslim cemetery, yeah. Have you been in Jerusalem?
Jerusalem?
Yeah.
Yes, I was here last.
for like 5 minutes, more but not less. You are welcome to the old Turkish one. Most of the homes you are visiting were built during the Turkish era. Turks came to the region in the year 1517, and they left the country at the end of the First World War, almost around 1917. So we lost a huge number of the houses due to that invasion. But when
What we call it?
Like a first day post?
No, it's
It's a-
paramedic.
no, not paramedic. It's just like the center. Right, it's
Yeah.
market. It's like Turkish market. It's made by Turkish.
It's made by
It's called khan. In Turkish, it's called khan. That is mini market. Bazaar or market. And you see how it is full of Chinese products. in in Nablus, we don't have, unfortunately, any Chinese like factories like they producing food. Producing material or such. Just the all people who got money here in Nablus, they go into China and they buy the worst class for
Yeah.
my cousin.
Me, alhamdulillah.
He lives here.
Say alhamdulillah.
Used to live, yeah.
Thank God for appreciate it. These signs in Damascus,
I have to say that I'm very surprised of this kind of stuff.
this keep continuing.
And we are in Nablus, middle of Palestine.
Maybe.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, can I? I'm sorry. What is that cheese?
Cow.
Cheese, goat, cow cheese. Yeah.
Wheat is made from wheat and some kind of flavor.
A flavor, yeah.
Some kind of a flavor, and you mix it with the colors, like make the color and taste. So it become like this taste.
Yep.
So he put it in the plate. Here they put like this kind of special kind of oil.
ليك ما هي لبتنك وعطوها دير بالك
Oh, sorry.
كمان هنا
Oil here, it's oil, and then put it here. And he spray, put it in the oil. Just 3 minutes. It's empty.
It's empty,
There.
not?
It's 3 minutes only. 4 minutes max. So let's see how it's doing. Then
They're going to add the cheese.
yes.
Yeah, sorry.
They keep it here for nearly
هلا لا
He
والله
will cut it. He will cut it and he will put it in the water to make it sweet.
Okay.
He's not boiled it just in the cold water.
Just solely cold
Yes,
water,
so
yeah.
Make it, remove the salt.
25.
يلا يا محمد بسرعة أعطيه إياه بسرعة يلا أنت ورنا يلا
20 زائد 5.
خليه مشيهم
5.
here we are. We are now heading to Bethlehem by bus.
It's 9:30 right now, and as far it's 9:30 right now. It's 9:30 as you can see, and we can leave. We can leave at it's 9:30. We are leaving we are meeting here maximum 11. Okay, the bus should leave at 11 from here to Beit Sahur, when we will start our tour around the settlements. You have 90 minutes to visit the Church of Nativity, read the available information there, and enjoy your time here and there. Look at the mosque. On the right part of the mosque, there is the main street of the old town of Bethlehem. You keep walking for like 500 meters, 700 meters. You just cross the street and come back from this way. You need like more time to spend here because you need to wait in a queue if there are more tourists. But we were doing our best.
Giannino ha smesso da tempo per le foto in cui ci sono le cartoline.
Okay. Okay.
It's everything
Under construction.
under construction.
Quelle tedesche che dicono che
Here we are. We are at 9:40 or 4th of August. We are in the Church of Nativity with a whole group of the volunteers and also the local ones. Hello, say hi. And right behind us, just is basically the cave where it's supposed to be Jesus Christ was born. And well, basically now we are doing a mass, so we cannot access it. There is a lot of like the bad one. But well, the whole church, as you can see, is really completely being restored. And nothing. Now we're going to visit the old town of Bethlehem because that's where I am right now. This place is a labyrinth. it's for the balance. So I'll show you. Here we have Saint Jordi, Saint George killing the dragon in the Church of Nativity. Do you have many friends, Mark, who want a Flemish independent state? We stopped by here for having some coffee. Here we are.
They come just from this street. It's like there's a lot of shops, if you see that, but it's closed right now because there's not a lot of people live here. It's really old, very, very old. And all these houses and shops it's repaired.
Is Boba, is it Santa Claus?
No, it's not a Santa Claus. Boba is from Roma. Roma.
500 euros, something like that.
500.
Yeah. Here we are in the outskirts of Bethlehem with a new tour guide, yeah, and he's explaining us how is the situation here in Bethlehem for people who live. Yeah. És bàsicament, has de venir amb un guia que sigui d'aquí a més, que ni tan sols sigui israelià.
اسرائيلي بيشتري دلو بيشتري جبل يعني انه بتلاقي حدا مثلا 7% من فلسطين كلها في يعني 7% من فلسطين 93% قاعد بين عائلين. This is a map of the district of Bethlehem. Where we're standing is by this red line, by this spot. Okay, the red line on this map. علاء خليه يوقف. Part of the Israeli wall. The Israelis have been building a 730 kilometers long wall throughout the western part of the West Bank, annexing about 13% of the land of the West Bank that will be on the other side of the wall. Okay. In Bethlehem, they are building about 70 kilometers long of that structure on the property of the residents of the district of Bethlehem. So nearly 10% of the Israeli wall is in the 10% of the Israeli wall is in the district of Bethlehem. One thing you should know about the Israeli wall, for example, is that it's about 730 kilometers long altogether. The length of the borders between the occupied West Bank and the State of Israel is about 350 kilometers. So why do the Israelis build a structure that's nearly twice the length of the border? It's very simple. It's because they sometimes build the wall about 20-25 kilometers into the borders of the West Bank, leaving people on one side and their land on the other. Okay? This is why the wall is nearly twice the length of the border. The other thing about the Israeli wall is that the most famous images of the Israeli wall is images of a high concrete structure, gray high concrete cement structure. That's correct for 10% of the whole structure. 90% of the Israeli wall is made of a structure like the one we see in the valley. It's 40 to 60 meters wide. It has barbed wires, ditches, road for footprints, so the Israeli soldier know where we walk on it. If you touch the middle fence, that's a censored fence, so it sends a signal to the Israeli military unit that will come as fast as they can on the road in the middle of it. The road in the middle of the structure is for the Israeli military only, or for the maintenance of the structure. Okay, and then you have another ditch and another barbed wire. a structure that is 40 to 60 meters wide that is built throughout the area of the West Bank. In the year 2004, Palestinians seek the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice to discuss the legality of this structure. The International Court of Justice in 2004 decided that this wall is illegal, it has to be dismantled, and families that sustained losses because of it must be compensated. That's the highest court on the planet, by the way. So the Israelis said, oh, no, this is a security barrier in The Hague, yeah. The Israelis said, like, this is a security barrier. We are the ones who can provide ourselves with security. It's not the job of the International Court of Justice. Okay?
Sorry, quick
So
question.
what? Yeah.
Can you repeat what the purpose of the wall was, to separate the settlements from...
What the Israelis say, those who built this say it's for security reasons. Okay?
But, okay.
That's what they say. I can tell you about things that happened.
Security of the settlements.
I have no idea. It's security for something else when it comes to practice. But officially speaking, the Israelis say it's for security. Okay? Why did the International Court of Justice said, like, families that sustained losses because of it must be compensated? What families are we talking about? We're talking about the families that own each and every inch of land on which this structure is built. To install this structure, you have to destroy people's property and people's land. And that's exactly what the State of Israel has done. Now, the Israelis said it's for security purposes, right? And you might think that the Israelis want to separate Jewish victims of Palestinian violence from each other, right? But that's not true. Behind this structure, on the other side of this structure, there is more than 4 million Palestinians. 2 million of them locked up in a fence like this in Gaza, and 2 million between the walls of Gaza and the wall of the West Bank. So the question is, like, what makes the 2 million people, 2 million Palestinians between the walls of Gaza and the West Bank safer to the State of Israel than the 2 million Palestinians in Gaza or in the West Bank? Right? For example, you look on the hilltop, on the horizon, you see the Palestinian community of Sur Baher, where the mosque tower is. So what makes the Palestinians of Sur Baher safer to the State of Israel than the Palestinians of Beit Sahur? We live in an Islamophobic political era, and you should ask, like, what makes the Palestinian Muslims of Sur Baher safer to the State of Israel than the Palestinian Christians of Beit Lahem, Beit Jala, and Beit Sahur? The wall is not to provide any form of security. Somebody mentioned divide and conquer, right? By building this structure, you give the impression that the State of Israel controls a Palestinian minority, which is only 2 million people there, right? But in fact, the State of Israel is in control of every Palestinian that lives on the land of Palestine that the Israelis call Israel. So Israel and Palestine are two different names for this geography. It's not two separate places, okay? It provides security for something, right? By the way, you should also know that there are a lot of Jewish Israelis that live on this side of the wall. If you look on the horizon, you see a mountain with a flat top. Next to that mountain, there are a few Israeli settlements, one of them called Nicodim. Nicodim is where the Israeli Minister of Defense lives, right? So even on this side of the wall, we have Israelis. So if you want to defend the State of Israel, you don't start from behind this fence. You start about 15 kilometers from this fence. So once again, the wall is not about separating Palestinians from Jewish Israelis. The wall is about separating Palestinians from Palestinians and separating Palestinians from their land. Believe it or not, 1/3 of the property owned by the locals of Beit Sahur is on the other side of this fence. They have not been allowed access to it since the year 2004, since this structure was put up to separate people from their land. Before this wall was put up, there was another invisible wall. That was the invisible wall that prevented people from living on their land between the year 1967 and the year 2004. Like, you look on that hill, Who was preventing people from building on their land before the Israelis built the wall here? It was the state of Israel. The structure you see, or the neighborhood you see on this hilltop, is built on a property that was stolen from 4 different families in Beit Al. As long as these families had access to that land, they were not allowed to build on it. But once the state of Israel managed to confiscate it, as they say, it became fit for construction. The same state that prevents Palestinians from building on their land is the same state that robs Palestinians of their land and then build housing units for Jewish Israelis on it. It's not like, it does not need an Einstein to explain it. It's very simple. If you were born for a Jewish family, the state of Israel will put resources to build for you on Palestinians' land. If you are a Palestinian who has right to your land, you are not allowed to build on it. The state of Israel is very popular in the West for so many things: being progressive, being civilian, being, great of civilization. That's 3 months. So the purpose is not we need to train for 4 days a year. The purpose is to prevent families from having access to their land for 361 days a year. You can read a lot about this in a report made by an Israeli human rights organization called the Kerem Navot. And if you are interested, I can send that report to Dada. You can read about how the Israelis abuse British law to justify land theft. Ottoman law. Some Israelis call the Ottoman law the Islamic law. So we are willing to apply Islamic laws if they mean that we can rob people of their land. In 1853, the British Empire passed a land taxation law that says any land that is not cultivated for more than 3 years will be declared property of the prince. They wanted you to register your land so they can enforce property tax on you and production tax as well. Now, what's the first thing you need for land cultivation? Access, your presence on your land, access. You might now understand how the state of Israel managed to rob 4 families of their land, because their land was abandoned. That construction started only in May of 2014. So the Palestinian owners of the land abandoned it from 2004 until for 10 years, and only after 10 years the Israelis applied the Islamic law on the land. One of the families actually tried to appeal to the Israeli court, saying, like, we did not abandon our land, we were prevented from having access to it. And the Israeli court decision was that if you really wanted to cultivate your land, you could. The Israeli wall is not a barrier to prevent you from doing that. It's actually true. We live in a Wi-Fi era. You could wirelessly cultivate your land.
Yeah, with roads.
You know?
Yes.
But that's the fate for the hills that we see also. There are Israeli plans to extend this settlement on these hills, and it will happen. And the argument will be, the legal step the Israelis will take is that this land is abandoned. So David can be brought from Brooklyn and given an apartment there and look around and say, like, look at these lazy Arabs. They don't love the land as much as we do. Nobody lived here before. You don't see nobody lived here before as an outcome of 50 years of Israeli politics enforced on people here. You just think, oh, Arabs are a primitive population, they don't love this land as much as we do. You know? You don't see it as an outcome of 50 years of politics that prevented people from living on their land, developing it and cultivating it. You are not allowed to build a barn on your land. You're not allowed to connect your land to water facilities. You're not even allowed to dig a hole in the ground to collect rainwater, because all of these things require a military permit, and of course you are not allowed to. You don't get that military permit from Israeli jurisdictions or restrictions on Palestinian land cultivation have reduced Palestinian manpower involved in agriculture from 30% of labor power back in 1967 to less than 4% today. So when you have to deal with all these jurisdictions in order to cultivate your land, then you end up abandoning it. You know, because you cannot make a living out of your farmland with all these jurisdictions. But what happens if you were born for a Jewish family? Whatever you want is provided to you by the Israeli Ministry of Agriculture. You can't cultivate people's land, but the people are not allowed to cultivate their land. You see it mostly throughout the Jordan Valley area. If it's green farm, it's for settlers. If it's dead, it's owned by Palestinians. Why? Because it's not because the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. It's simply because the other fence has access to water and you don't. That's about it. Anyways, like over there, they have access to 65 liters per person per day. Any person in a household over there, they have access to 350 liters per person per day. In France, you have access to 225 liters. You know, the issue is not that there is not enough water for both. No, the issue is that there is discrimination in access to water. Some Israelis would say, oh, Palestinians have a primitive water network. It's the same water network, you idiots. Sorry, I'm not talking about those who make this claim. It's the same water network, and as simple as opening the tap or closing the tap. The water does not come from the main supply 24/7. So whenever the water comes from the main supply, like in Beit Sahur, we still not have access to water for 17 days. So when the water comes through, we store it on our rooftops and use it domestically later on. This is a plumbing nightmare that no one settler has to go through. Why? Because you have 24/7 access to water. It's the exact same water authority that controls water on both sides. The last thing I want to say, and you'll be released, is that what you're looking at is a very, very simple thing. A Palestinian that lives in front of you is subject to Israeli military rule. A Jewish Israeli person in front of you is subject to Israeli civil law. Civil law is superior to military law, and both are functioning by the same state, right? So the state of Israel applies a superior law on a Jewish Israeli person and inferior law on a Palestinian. So here superiority and inferiority is not a cultural thing. It's something that is granted by law. It's a systematic thing. The state of Israel, whether you like it or not, the state of Israel has one set of rules applicable on every Jewish Israeli person who lives on the land of Palestine or Israel. And they invented 4 separate sets of laws for the rest of us. So discrimination imposed on Palestinians who live in Nazareth is different than discrimination imposed on Palestinians in Jerusalem. The two are different than what's imposed on Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. So if you want to go into the details of this, you might discover that the state of Israel applies apartheid on its treatment of the Palestinians here, but not in one way. In South Africa, it was black inferiority, white supremacy. And here you have Jewish supremacy and 4 types of Palestinian inferiority, all of which are granted by law. Okay? Let's go somewhere else.
These are Israeli settlements in the West Bank, on the other side of the fence. and these are Palestinian houses. As you can see, there are water tanks on top because they don't have access to the water tunnels because they are being controlled by the Israeli authority.
That's not evidence that the land is a land without people, because on Palestine we have 7 million evidences of our existence. That's the number of olive trees that you will find in Palestine that occupy the landscape. We have olive trees that are as old as 5,000 years, and we have olive trees that are as young as 600 years old, like the ones you see down in the valley in Beit Sahur, like if you keep looking down. Olive trees are not wild trees, they require human care. So for at least like 5,000 years, human beings have been looking after these trees. Every tree needs, or an olive grove needs about 40 days a year, so you spend 40 days looking after these trees for plowing the land, pruning it, harvesting it, and planting some, and then you go on with the rest of your year doing other things. Olive trees are also being subject to removal. So the State of Israel removed 68% of us, and in the process of removing the evidence of our existence on this land. Between the year 2001 and today alone, more than 1 million olive trees were destroyed by the State of Israel and Israeli actors. Whether to build an Israeli wall, to expand Israeli settlements, through military operations, we lost hundreds and hundreds of olive trees. Also through building Israeli settler roads that you've probably been driving on since you arrived. But also we lose about 10,000 olive trees on average because of Israeli settler violence. So as I said, like Palestinian olive trees are viewed as a part of a Palestinian livelihood, right? So if you want to harm a Palestinian family, go and burn down or uproot their olive trees, and you directly affect their livelihoods. And once again, we lose about 10,000 olive trees on average only because of Israeli settler violence. The number of Israeli settlers that were arrested by Israeli authorities for burning down or cutting down or uprooting Palestinian olive trees has been zero. An Israeli organization called Yesh Din actually issued a report on Israeli treatment of Jewish Israeli offenders who destroy Palestinian olive trees, and found out that the Israeli authorities ignore 93% of Palestinian complaints about attack on their olive trees go ignored by Israeli authorities. 7% are investigated, and 0 is the number of Israeli settlers that were arrested for burning down and cutting down Palestinian olive trees. You should know that most of our olive groves are in Area C. So most of our olive groves are surveyed by the surveillance cameras installed in every corner of a settlement. So it's easy to find who actually went on the field and destroyed it or burned it or whatever. But like when Palestinians ask for the surveillance footage, they will be told that the camera did not work that day. Israeli surveillance cameras only work when there is a Palestinian offender rather than when there is a Jewish Israeli offender. It's like kosher surveillance, you know? So in a way, the State of Israel succeeded in eliminating 68% of Palestinians from the land, because 68% of us have been turned into displaced persons or refugees, and now they are just going after the evidence of our existence on the land.
Donald Trump, yeah?
Sit down here.
As I told you earlier, the Israeli concrete wall is only 10% of the Israeli structure that is built throughout the area of the West Bank. Okay? The concrete wall differs in height. In all cases, it's better than the Berlin Wall. In its shortest place, it's about 6 meters high. The Berlin Wall, I think, in its highest point was about 5 meters. In here, the Israelis build a taller walls between 6 meters to 12 meters in some cases. In Bethlehem, it's about 10 to 12 meters, and it has 2 fences on top of it. The Israeli wall is property of the State of Israel. It shall not be harmed, right? The Israeli fence part that we saw earlier is patrolled with army driving through it. The concrete wall is patrolled with watchtowers installed every 500 or 600 meters from each other. Each watchtower is made comfortable for a sniper to spend his shift in it. Now, if you approach the wall to spray paint on it, it's fine. If you want to bang your head against it, it's fine. If you want to sit in its shade, it's fine. But if you approach it with the intention of removing it, the sniper will kill you. Okay, so it's patrolled by snipers spending their shifts in these watchtowers. The impact of this wall in particular in Bethlehem is destructive on every level. Okay, because here, the road to the right leads to Hebron. The road to the left leads to Bethlehem town. And then to the north it's Jerusalem, right? People used to live and provide for themselves through being located on the connecting points through these 3 main towns. It was a very busy area. The only evidence left to prove to you that it was a very busy area is not 1 but 2 gas stations installed on the main road. These 2 gas stations are not installed by 2 idiots who thought, oh, it's a very good business to build a gas station a yard from the wall. They predate the Israeli wall. Okay? So what happened here? The Israelis came in, built the wall, and destroyed the livelihood of the families that run these 2 gas stations, but along with the livelihoods of hundreds of families whose life used to depend completely by being located on the connection between Hebron, Bethlehem, and Jerusalem. By doing this, the State of Israel created a coercive environment that made it impossible for people to live normally and left them with no other option but to leave. By building such a coercive or creating such a coercive environment, the regime is committing a crime against humanity called the crime of forcible population transfer. It's a crime the founders of the Israeli state perfected back in 1948 and 49 by forcing people to leave on gunpoint. Today they don't need to force people to leave on gunpoint. All what we can do is create environments here and there, make it impossible for people to live normally, so they choose to leave. You know? Jerusalem city suffers from such an environment. Hebron suffers from such an environment. Area C throughout the West Bank. The Jordan Valley, you know? All these places are places that the State of Israel creates environments that make it impossible for normal human survival, so people choose to leave. Right? By doing that, the state once again is committing a crime against Israel. The Israeli wall in Bethlehem is not like anywhere else throughout the West Bank, where it's built to separate people from their land. It does that, but in this particular place is to carve out parts of the northern part of the city. Do you all see this satellite map? Right? Let's put it this way. We are under a building here. The red line we are looking at is the Israeli wall. And the Israeli wall is simply like built on as 2 layers on both sides of the main road. The square here is a military camp. The square here is a parking lot. Okay? but a Palestinian from here can go to here and vice versa, right? On this area of Bethlehem, the Israelis just separate people from their land. But in the case of the northern part of Bethlehem, they just carve this active or vibrant area of the town. Why did they do that? Huh?
To make it less vibrant.
Because they know. I don't think they were concerned about that. You know, because it's typical for the state of Israel to do whatever they want, disregarding the destructive impact on the Palestinian people. You know, because we don't exist, right? So it's impossible to destroy a life of a person who does not exist. You know, so they don't really, they're not really concerned about the destructive impact on us. The process of this started back in 1967 and continues up until today. I'll explain it to you a little bit further. So you have 5 minutes to walk along the wall, and if you want to take pictures or whatever, do that. Okay?
Tu papá pagó? Sí. ¿Listo? Creo que sí, creo. ¿Ah? Creo que sí. اسمع دفع لك الله عشان نروح.
Yes, they are. So we'll try to make contact to the other people on the other side of the wall. Hello? Is any human intelligence on the other side?
No.
I don't think so neither.
They
Oh
will
god.
shoot you.
Yeah.
Well, there is no human intelligence inside the wall.
Inside the wall, definitely not, yeah.
And part of this cement factory is to provide
Oh.
West Bank, you are not allowed in Jerusalem, therefore you are not allowed on your land. Does that make, do you understand that? Rather than,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It should not make any sense from having free access to Jerusalem, right? And then they decide that your land is in Jerusalem and therefore you are not allowed access to it. Do you want me to explain that again? Because it is like a highly complicated thing. Okay, let's get off the bus. You will not regret it. between that tower and here you have the towns of Jerusalem, you have the towns of Sharafat, Beit Safafa, Tuba, Surbahir, and part of the land of Beit Jala, right? But the Israelis do not care about that. All of it is Jerusalem as far as they are concerned. Okay? Okay, guys.
I don't know what it looks like.
This is an Israeli military checkpoint. Recording right now. 3 people over here with no shotguns, no rifles, really very peaceful. We don't. Oh God. Here we are in the middle of the desert with a lot of sun. Say hi, everyone! Yeah! Hey! The driver leaving the seat. Okay, it's really very impressive. Okay, we have everybody here. Come on! Heading towards the end of these roads, pedestrian roads. Let's go. You take it. Alright. Everybody got down. Welcome to the desert. There we are. Yeah, the car is moving at the same time. Yeah, health and safety rules here. Yes. Come on. Let's go. Facebook, yes, absolutely. Here we are. Mana. It's video, don't worry. I mean, just, we can take one of these frames, yes. There we are. Okay. 5:29 in the morning, seeing the sunrise just in front of the Dead Sea, and away from that, on the other side, we have Jordan.
Is this the best picture I've ever taken?
Alright, here we are. We're in Iberon. It's quite early in the morning, 9:39 to be precise. Hello. I am with Odman. Odman, say hi. Hi. Yeah. Okay. Iberon, it's one of the southern parts of the West Bank here in the city. Hey, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Now, and we are here in one of the markets. We're heading basically to the Israeli mosque part, yes? Yep, Mosque Ibrahim. And basically the city is divided in two parts, one Palestinian part and one Israeli, which was divided in the agreement of who was signing El Cairo. Yep. Basically, well, it's quite massive, as you can see. There is quite a lot of people over here, and yeah, we're going to see more today. Smells good. The city is divided by two, Israeli and Palestinian part. Here is the best example. We're in the Palestinian. The Israeli is securely fenced with this barbed wire.
the old city of Hebron was famous for its best leather wear, particular shoes. Even the Israelis are buying the shoes that are made here in the city of Hebron. And not far away from
Yeah.
the Palestinian
City, shops, yeah, market, yeah.
or cameras. Like cameras here are monitoring us right now and taking photos for or filming. They are checking if there is like an accident, and the cameras are used to prove that any of the Palestinians attacked any of the Israeli settlers, or if there is like a dispute, they will use the cameras. But if they are sure that the accident took place here and the uprising, the Al-Aqsa uprising, they used it as a great opportunity to announce more military orders. So they closed hundreds of the shops. And we have here 800,000 citizens living in the district of Hebron, not less than 350,000 are living in the city of Hebron. Here down there, like a few meters here, we have the school of Osama Dawood there. It became a synagogue. Something metal that closed the shops. رجعتهم يا forever. هلا انتم بعد ما سكروا الدكاكين اللي زي هاي هون، قدرتوا تفوتوا على الدكاكين؟ He said, since the closure of the shop, this is the street, the main street of Hebron, and this is the corridor. And everyone.
They are really putting that. Imagine what they feel about Jewish people. Yeah. The old city of Hebron. Israeli checkpoint. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. That's what they don't, what you don't see on the news. Yeah, they are asking for a documentation. Well, from the Palestinian and Israeli part of Hebron. And as you can see, it's really very easily accessible. Yep. Freedom of movement. Yeah. These checkpoints is in order to access this mosque, by the way, which the Palestinians, they have divided the mosque in two, the Palestinian part, the Palestinian the Israeli part, and also the Palestinian part. So all these checkpoints are for this building over here. Yep. As you see, the small little house over there as well. Yep. Also a checkpoint. This is the Palestinian mosque running out of battery. So we are in the Muslim part here. I am recording the last moments of this battery, and basically if you want to see what is the Jewish part, you only have to come over here and see that through the window. Yeah, there you go. You see the man over there? Here we are, another day. All of us preparing for the workshops that we're going to do.
I think that's why I was so shocked by how easy. Yeah.
a piece of this carpet.
Yes, on the screen. Because it's all done through a video, you know? It's a very good activity to do for operation. So you have to match the video with the audio. And we really like it. Well, we can do that anyway, because I've got the materials in my pen drive, so we can do that. Yeah, okay? But then we will need to print just the worksheet, but then we will need to tell Alan or one of the volunteers that we need to complete that.
Here we are in the computer class. I make my own video as well. We're going to teach Premiere on here. Okay. We are here in the town of Sebastian. Oh, I hope that's okay. Don't, yes, yes. So here we are. We're in the town of Sebastian. Basically, this town has been invaded by so many different cultures all around the different ages. First it was the Greek Empire, then it was the Romans, then it was the Byzantine, and then it was the Ottomans. This was the place where John the Baptist, that guy, baptized that thing. What was his name? John the Baptist. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he baptized Jesus Christ and he is supposed to you guys
signature like this. We look here where you can see many stones have a signature like this one. And when they want to pay for them, they account how many signature and they pay about this. Yeah. They pay.
إلا بدنا التقرير بدنا بالضبط عشان Come on here please. In the chair please.
Now take picture if you want to go to the next place.
No. Today last day. And tomorrow Photoshop and the next day Photoshop as well. welcome everyone. For being here, for holding me another day, keeping me with that myself. We're going to do today the last class of Premiere. We're going to review a little bit of what we did yesterday, yeah? And we're going to do, of course, a few more things, yeah? For example, some effects, yeah? We're going to be doing effects on Premiere as well. We're going to do some keyframe animations, very basic stuff, and we're going to do some titles as well, yeah? And then automatically to each one of your laptops a series of videos, because the important thing for editing is, well, not for editing, but it's for almost for everything, that you need to practice. And what we have worked from now is really photos, which is not ideal. It's really very helpful to start doing videos. You need to work with videos, yeah? So what you have been copying on all the laptops is basically a series of videos that I don't know online, and I want you if when for tomorrow, for the next 2 days, if you can edit your own video with the videos and some music, yeah? Let's start. We are ready to see the screen.
Smile. We are in the Samaritans, where we're going to hear a presentation today. Yep.
Samaritans, minorities, which we are visiting right now. The host of our visit are our students.
صار دخل على الاراضي جوا وسكن جوا وما عادش له استعدادات وجزء ضل كان كان في قرايب جوا المفروض الناس يزوروها مشان يعيدوا احفاد شغلات زي هاي اضطرت الحكومه الاسرائيليه.
On the right, Samaritan language. On the left, Hebrew.
So Esau sold the birthright to his brother Jacob. Since that day, Jacob got the blessing and became the prophet as well as his sons. And here he is giving the blessing. Yeah, right. Women are not practicing their prayers in either in the church or in the Passover. They stay around, then keep celebrating, and they are not even asked to do that rituals. But men are asked more. Let us explain some of this. So this is how they do pray. It's very close to the Islamic one. You see, so the Islamic one is very close to the Holy Torah in the church. You see the little kids are also the organs. They leave it here and burn it here. And they only take the meat, تاخذ اللحمة وشوية أشياء مثل إيش؟
ما اخذش شيء كله بناكل يعني
Plus this one for 24 hours. This is how they are fasting, including one.
Okay, basically I'm going now to the class. Oh, let me
because I'm, as a good professor, I am arriving next to my own class. Well, basically, I'm going to find the students over there. So, let's see what they are going to do. Today we're going to learn more Premiere and Photoshop. Yes. Let's see. See? This is one of the classes. Yeah. Hey! Hello! I'm already recording. Okay, thankfully you were here, because if not I go to the other building. Yeah, I am recording already. Me rushing to the class. Okay. Anyway, how are you?
Here we are in the university.
You want she can carry it.
At the camera?
Yeah.
Oh. Hi, my name is David Canalda, and I am from Barcelona. I live nowadays in London, and I am teaching here for a couple of weeks in the An-Najal University, social media and digital communication skills. Basically, we are going through an explanation of the different social media platforms like Instagram, like Facebook, Gmail, and also YouTube. We're explaining how to create a YouTube channel. And another platform that we're using is basically how to edit videos with Premiere, explaining a little bit all the tools, the different process of how to edit the video. And also we explain a bit of Photoshop as well, and how to merge it between Photoshop and Premiere and work together in order to create a digital communications video that students feel free to express their own ideas. And the students that we have over here are mainly from the An-Najal University. It's a very open university that they can study from different kinds of subjects, and I found it really very comfortable talking with them and explaining them all the kind of tools, and they pay a lot of attention, and I get really very fascinated of the way that they want to discover this, and yeah, here we are.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Canalda. I am originally from Barcelona. Hi, my name is David Canalda. I am originally from Barcelona, and for the past 5 years I've been living in London. Basically, I am the teacher here who is teaching about social media and digital communications in the An-Najal University, a very open university where girls and boys just study in a very open way, and they can know a lot of from different subject areas. And in my case, I have the pleasure to teach around 10 and 12 just ladies and a few men as well. And well, basically, I'm teaching the different kind of social media platforms, from Google, from Gmail, from Instagram, from Facebook, from YouTube, and as well as editing softwares like Premiere, and how they can able to use the tools that are on these softwares in order to produce their own videos.
Esta música parece sempre a mesma. Não é aquela coisa aqui em frente. Não. Depois temos outra com 2 pedais. Depois temos uma coisa assim atrás. Estás a ver o que quer dizer? O quê? Tens uma coisa baixa. Tens uma coisa baixa. Sim, é por causa Acho que aquilo é a universidade. É. E aquilo será aquela casa grande que eu não sei o que é? Estás a ver aqui? Eles também parece assim uma confusão de religiões todas misturangadas. É a Torá.
Só a Torá? Não.
Sim, mas depois tem uma parte.
3.
Hello, here we are, city of Nablus. We're on top of one of the highest mountains here in the city. I don't know how tall is it, but basically Nablus city is right behind me. We are going to find here 371,000 people living in this city. Basically, a lot of religions merge in this city. We are now in a natural park that half is basically public, and the other half is basically private. And well, it's as you can see over here, a lot of like the terraces are basically covered with tanks of water because most of them they don't have running water, and also we have a football stadium in Nablus, and we have other like shopping centers and quite a lot of wide variety, as you can see also in a lot of western cities. And yeah, here we are.
I think so. The program says 7 in the morning to 11 at night.
Yeah, they're not working.
Now we're going to see all the green lights here disappearing after the song, yeah, of the
Not
mosque.
song, it's
No song?
adhan.
Adhan.
Yes, adhan.
After Adhan has finished, yeah. It's 9 o'clock, 8th of August 2017.
no turn off.
Ah, no, they don't turn off.
Yes, no turn off. It's all the night, all the day, all the years. It's not turn off.
Ah, really? So the
Yes.
lights are always on?
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
really? I thought that
Just
was-
in morning.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not see in the green green light.
Yeah.
Is in the night after Maghrib.
Yeah.
Yes, to Fajr. He is turned on in the light.
They didn't turn off their
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, here we are. We're in the north part of Israel. Basically, further up, we see those mountains at the very end with a bit of the towers at the end on top of it. Yes, that's the border between Israel and Lebanon. Yep. On the left-hand side, what do we have? The Mediterranean, the lovely Mediterranean over there, and then it just further down that side. I mean, just we're going to have Syria. Nablus is just further down the road, and well, that's it. It's kind of like one of the highest mountains that we can see, and yeah, it's a very Mediterranean land, and yeah, we're here all of us. I mean, just sweating a lot. They are doing rappel inside of this cave. You wanna do the video? Of course, yeah.
I will. What do you?
Well, I've done it already.
You want to talk in Spanish?
I've done it already, yeah. Okay, but what can I say? They're doing rappel over here. I'm just they're with all the ropes, with all the security harness, and I don't know how deep is this. Do you know?
I think it's about 40 meters.
40 meters high. Yes, so quite deep. Yeah. It's really very hot. We're all very sweaty, and so. Yeah, it's better to be in the shade, not where I am right now, yes. Okay. Thank you.
This?
Yes, what? Ah, no, that one, yeah. Oh, you want to?
What are you gonna
Yes.
do with it?
It's what I'm going to do. I still don't know. Really.
I like how
Yeah.
you start from Catalan and ask me a question in English and finish in English.
I'm finished in English. Well, the thing is that fence over there separates Israel from Lebanon. Yep.
They told us that you can make chicken if you are in Lebanon. Chicken.
Oh, okay.
It should be like you are in Lebanon.
Okay, so we stood on the Israeli-Lebanese border, and just after the fence over there, on the other side, is Lebanon. Now, the last time Israel and Lebanon came into conflict, it was when Hezbollah, which is a Shiite militant group, were firing rockets over the border with Israel. I think they supposedly captured an Israeli soldier or something. And then what happened is Israel retaliated. Since then, Hezbollah have become one of the biggest militant groups political parties, in Lebanon, and they sort of generally are voted for by the Shia Muslims there, which I think are about a third of the population.
Done. Yay!
Get going? Okay, so we're currently stood on the border between Israel and Lebanon. There's a sort of buffer zone here with UN troops. Now, in 2006, Israel began to bomb Lebanon. Now, the reason for this was Hezbollah, which is a militant group and also a political party, kidnapped 3 Israeli soldiers and killed them. And they claim that they were trespassing into Lebanese territory, and then they had every right to defend themselves against an kind of invading force. Obviously Israel will claim otherwise. I don't know who's true. Either way, it escalated from there, and Hezbollah began to fire rockets, and eventually Israel began to bomb. They destroyed 50% of Beirut, most of Lebanon. This bottom third part of the country was absolutely in ruin. And yeah, they began to invade, and Hezbollah were more resistant to the invasion than they had expected. And this led to the destruction of a lot of Israeli tanks, and from there it kind of they began to reach a sort of ceasefire.
I really I make like guides of every single of well, I don't want to do like a heavy video. This is the border between Israel and Lebanon. Here we are, another day in Nablus, yeah. Okay, here another day. We are 11th of August of 2017. It's 11:30 in the morning, and we are in the town of Jenin. Basically, we are going to visit the Freedom Theater. Jenin is located in the north part of the West Bank, and also it was attacked by basically by the third Intifada. I think it was in 2002. 50 people died in this town during that war. So, well, we're going now to see and get to know more of what exactly is interesting out here.
He's the founder, or part of the founder of this organization, of the Freedom Theater, will tell us the story of the Freedom Theater, and any question you can share with us, and we can answer them.
I'm the operation leader.
With each other without violence.
What? No, only part. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want it to be boring for you. I'm waiting for this. Maybe through questions that you have to ask, we can answer and
Okay, perfect. Well, here we are. We are in the Freedom Theater. We just seen a very emotional film about basically what it represents. I mean, just this theater for the whole community in Jenin, and it's basically freedom of expression. As you have seen in some of the images, here people try to express their creativity by different performing arts. And one of the things that it struck me more, it was basically it's the creator of who developed this theater. It was a man called Julian, and basically he created this theater in 2006, and it was originally from Israel, and well, I mean, just he was appearing for quite a long during the film. It was a 6 minutes one, and then later on we were speaking just with the actual owners or the one organizing all the different performances here, and we were wondering, okay, well, is Julian? Because I mean, he was not here, and they tell us, well, he got killed. He got killed in 2011, but with one guy, I mean, just quite close from here. We don't know exactly if he was Israeli or he was, I mean, just a Palestinian. The man who got killed. There was not much information about the way that he died, but it was kind of a martyr. I mean, just somebody who fight for the freedom and fight for expressing arts in a country that this kind of creativity there is a shortage from, and well, that's one of the sad realities of here living in Palestine. Another story that it really has struck in our hearts, no? Of what happened over here. Well, we go from creative arts to churches. Yeah. Well, you have St. George there on top.
After they have been healed, they just moved on and they didn't thank Jesus. Only the Samaritan one who stayed here and thanks Jesus for his healing.
طبعا وسع البؤبؤ والله جاي من فضل شوفر هنا خلصت ماستر
على فكرة هي لسه بس برسالة اللي ضايل
سلم عليك
خربشتي اعمل هيك زبطة انا بس اعمل لك اياها تعال يلا نبعث اللي بتوق هاي اجرب بالموضوع يلا
انا لازم اشتغل هاي اشتغلت خلاص لفي وزين
لا يصير نطلع تعالي
تصور بصورة بس بدي أنا خلي واحد يضل السكة عشان
Come on, you can do it. Jump. Yeah. The thing is to touch basically the floor, the top. It's too high. Okay. Yeah. No problem. No problem.
Hello, we are here 3:31 of the 11th of August of 2017, and basically right behind me is the town of Jenin, a town that is basically at the north of the West Bank, and we're here in a very high area in a kind of a natural park that is full of rabbits, to be honest, and I have seen also some skeletons of animals next to the side of the road, and well, I don't know exactly what's the point of it, but they were like full of skeletons, and we're here stopping for a stop, and we're going to see exactly what Ella is going to tell us.
Lunch.
Lunch, yeah.
We'll be having now the presentations of the initiatives and the projects that have been developed by our students that are present now. We'll have the following procedure. First of all, we'll have the presentation of the first couple of ideas from the first topic, which will be followed by some music. Afterwards, we'll have grab tour, some music, and so on until we have Area D presented down here.
Great.
We're going to start with a group about religious extremism, and I would invite all the members of the group on stage. One person will be presenting, and also we have like 7 to 8 minutes for the whole group. So if you have like subgroups, just divide your time wisely. It's literally 7 to 8 minutes. So please welcome the first group.
Hello everyone. Our group today we want to talk about digital exchange. Actually, it's related to religious extremism. We joined our topics to talk about digital exchange through social media and apply it in schools. So why do we want to do it? Because we want to grow mutual understanding, which leads to tolerance. And what are the activities that we want to do? We want to exchange, to make an exchange between European and Palestinian classes through social media. Who are the participants? We want at least 2 willing teachers and motivated students. They all can participate in the digital exchange. Where do we want to apply it? We can make in the classrooms and actually privately by internet. After you know about some people, you can talk to them through internet. Maybe you can by Skype or Facebook on social media. And at the end, when do you want to start? We can actually start now by preparing these things, and then we can, which will lead to formal exchange. We will talk to people formally. Then, after they know each other, they can informally talk to each other on social media. And thank you.
كان التبادل الإلكتروني الطلابي. هاي الفكرة زي ما حكت أول شيء السبب هو ننمي الروابط بين مثلا بلدان برا وبلدان هون. مثلا احنا حكينا ممكن البرتغال هلا اللي بدهم مثلا يتم عن طريق ايش؟ بيكون في جروبين مثلا بيكون في البرتغال في تيتشر بيعلموا الطلاب الموجودين بفلسطين. المثل هي مثلا بتكون ساعتين بالاسبوع. نطمح فيها اللي يشارك فيها هم الاشخاص التيتشرز اللي هم حابين يعطوا هذا، يعني يكون عندهم حب رغبه انهم يعطوا هذا ويعلموا الطلاب هذول. طبعا بطلب عنا يعني يكون في انترنت، اتصال انترنت كويس. بالمدارس يكون في كمبيوترات مجهزه لهذا الشيء عشان يتم التواصل عن طريق السكايب.
So we want to make it much more work in this world and make it grow bigger, especially in the Arab world. So we decided to start that in the Middle East, Palestine, and Najah National University, who will start with the international students, Palestinians, local students, and professionals, engineers, doctors, anyone who can provide a good idea with the theme of peace and tolerance. Where we will start it at Najah National University, and we will start from the media center, which is Najah Broadcasting Channel, TV, radio, and website. So we can grow up this idea, and actually we can use the social media to improve it. So this is connected to the first idea which was presented. And the main theme is also about to provide workshops about the first thing, which would be supported for the media part. And when actually we can start from now and all year long, so it could be 12 months all the year. So thank you. This is our idea.
Thank you very much for these impressions of our course. And now there is some more music to play.
الحجم هلا اللي قاله بس هلا احنا في المجموعه تبعتنا طلعنا فعليا باربع مبادرات. من كل مجموعه كان في عندنا احنا مبادره. المبادرات هذه كلياتها بالاخر لما حطيناها وطلعنا لقينا انهم بيشبهوا بعض. يعني ثلاث من هذه المبادرات كان لهم علاقه بانه احنا فعليا نروح نتوجه للقرى، وداخل القرى هناك احنا نقدر نعمل المبادره تبعتنا بحيث انه نقدر نجذب الطلاب او الستودنتس الموجودين هناك. ومن ضمن المبادرات كانت كمان مع فينس انه احنا فعليا لازم يكون في عندنا الفيسبوك جروب. هذا الشيء هو اللي بيقدر احنا يجمعنا كلياتنا مع بعض من خلال نقدر نتواصل. وبالاضافه لهيك احنا فينا لازم يكون نقدر نتواصل مع الخارج من الزاويه الامريكيه، يعني يكون في عندنا احنا ديبيتنج سكيلز او ديبيتنج كاباسيتي يكون موجود علينا. ففعليا بالاخر المحصله اللي طلعنا فيها احنا انه رح نبلش من الطلاب وللطلاب. يعني الطلاب هذا رح نبلش احنا بالجامعه نعطي الدورات اللي احنا بنحتاجها هون، وبالاخر كل شخص فينا بينتقل للمكان اللي هو اصلا عايش فيه، سواء كانت قريه، مدينه او بلده، وبيعطي هناك فيها الطلاب. بالتالي هو اكتسب تطوع واكتسب خبره وفاد كمان الاشخاص اللي غيره.
وبداية حابب أعرفكم على أعضاء الفرقة واحد واحد. نبلش من إبراهيم السلواني بازك على الكيبورد. وأرام الزعنون على آلة القانون. إسلام كلبوني بالغناء وآلة العود. سلوى المدموج على الغناء. وديانا الطنيب على آلة الكمان. سامح حنا وضابط الإيقاع على آلة الدرة. وأنا أحمد رزان على آلة الرق.
Today, I am going to talk about some solutions regarding to that. To begin with, the lecture should be interesting and attractive, and that's by making students more interactive. Second thing, lecturers should be more open-minded and take students' opinions and ideas seriously and never let them down.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad. I'm in the psychological research group with Ella, and after we done with the workshop, let's say, we got some one solution, I guess, which is student committee. Students committee consisting of like 4 steps or something. So the first one is about opening up a line of communication between the staff and students. You know, the students and the staff at the university, they should be connected to each other. And the second one is representative from each faculty. Like from each faculty, like from the Arabic faculty and from the English faculty, we should have at least like 4 students who represent each faculty. The third point, which is voicing the concerns of the students and communicating them to the administration. So after this representative listen to the other students, they should deliver their message to the administration, so they take everything into consideration. And the last one is non-political. Students committee should be non-political, like there are no political parties like here. So we should get rid of this because it causes some problems for the students. And thanks for the opportunity.
مرحبا، بدي احكي ايش حكوا. صح حكينا عملنا جروبس عن الضغوط النفسيه اللي بتنعمل للشباب، فحكينا عن كثير اسباب وتوصلنا انه
السلام and ideas and critical thinking, and so thanks a lot for being here. Before I start, I would like for Shadin to stand up. I think it's really crucial that we also give her another round of of applause for the little girl that sang here in front of us. I would like just to stress how amazing what she did was, and since we are here talking about youth problems and how to solve them, we should look at the young, the youngsters and how are they dealing with daily life issues. And I'm amazed of the confidence that she had to actually request for the band to play some music for her to sing in front of the audience. So that's something that we all should support always. Now, to the last bit of the ideas that we're trying to pitch here today, our group was concerned about talking about social media issues and how are we dealing with them. We were blessed that we had David here with us to guide us throughout how to use social media to actively promote your startup or business idea. But still, we had another group who thought that they want to talk about how to promote yourself as an individual, how to be an influencer, and how to promote your own brand. Eventually, we pitched 2 ideas, and luckily ours was the most voted. We were concerned about launching a business throughout and promoting through our social media that actually solves a social problem. So what did we focus on? We focused on education. We had 2 girls in our team that went through high school lately, and we thought about solving a problem that they go through, which is how to book a personal tutor. And this thing is really problematic in the Palestinian community. You always have to get a special tutor for yourself throughout your study in high school. So what we thought about is to have a platform that operates throughout the website in which you can book the teacher that you want to and just get on the session with him online. And we believe that is going to solve a huge problem for the students because we are going to cut the costs. Because let us say that you pay $15 for a 1-hour session, then you're going to have extra $10 to actually go to the tutor and get back to your home. So you have transportation. And by that, you wasted another hour to get to the class and get back home. So for the benefit of a 1-hour course, you lost another hour, so 2 hours wasted of your study time. So we believe that our service is going to solve that by cutting the cost only to pay for the course that you want and for the time to be fully invested in you getting the benefit of the class that you're going to have with the tutor. Another stream of the service that we're going to host on our platform is already set up and recorded courses that you can buy for a cheaper price, because of course you're going to have more people buying those bundle of courses. Now to the social media part, how are we going to get on with our service and how are we going to promote it? First of all, we are going to host the website on WordPress, and the videos are actually going to be hosted by Vimeo, which is an alternative, video streaming and hosting service rather than YouTube. It's it has more, security, options, and the one-on-one sessions with the tutor are actually going to be hosted throughout Skype Business, and we will provide an extra service that during the session is going to be recorded, and you can get to download the session that you had with the professor, so you can always get back to using it. How are we going to promote it throughout social media? First of all, Instagram. We will always post some tips in small photos. Each teacher that is going to operate and use our service will record a 1-minute pitch for himself and tip in order to create a sense of credibility and for the people to actually trust going to that particular teacher. And we can post more extended length videos on Facebook. And for the social reliability concept, we are going to have a rating rating service on the website for the students that actually can rate how well they benefited from the tutor and to interact and give better information for others using that kind of platform. We firmly believe that it's going to help students who cannot reach, like let us say that there's a really good teacher that lives in the center of Naples City, and I am a student who lives in another village, and I cannot get to him. It's going to be really costly, and it's going to waste a lot of my time. We believe that this service is going to solve that by being concentrated on solving the issue of how to get to the tutor that you want, with the least amount of money paid and saving your study time. Thanks a lot for listening.
Nothing else to add, to be honest. I mean, they have done all the work. I mean, just for us, I mean, just it was basically supporting and guiding them. And I think that they have done a fantastic job. I mean, just everybody who was involved into the workshop, I think that they had their say. And it was, I think, a tremendous amount of work. I mean, just from as a team player, we're really very happy to be here and provide this support from us. Here we are in the new campus, where we're going to meet all the board of directors and the Prime Minister of Palestine.
Yes. Hello, David. How
Hello.
are you?
Very good. Last day of the WordCamp.
Olá,
And here we are.
David, como passas?
Eu passaram muy bien. Bonito día.
Sim, sim, sim.
Sí, sí. Sí, sí, sí.
Sí, sí, sí.
Well, in Spanish is mañana, mañana.
Theater. So that door.
So maybe,
the back side.
maybe this is the place.
Take some courses in the let's go here. I want to show you the
Oh, yes, sir.
You're so lucky you have mango.
Okay, yeah. To say, see, you can come up also with a good idea from videos or using Photoshop, yeah. So I thought, okay, I brought some things, just from London to here, but I thought that can be.
in London.
It's very it's really silly. I tell you, should I show the price?
No.
Should I? No.
No.
Okay. So you're not going to find it. Yeah. The one who gives the most creative answer or the most it's a more appropriate answer. I mean, just for this, just is the one that is going to take the prize. Yeah. Okay. No, let me think because I have to think of some questions.
اوكي هلا بده يسألكم سؤال عن اشي اخذناه في المحاضرات اللي قبل اللي بيجاوب الجواب جواب كامل يعني انه الخطوات صح له جاي انه اللي بتذكر مبروك عليك الحدين ما نوع
Okay, just start. First of all, let's do like a quick review, yeah? Of do you remember exactly all these kind of tools that will be?
هدول الادوات
Yeah, on Photoshop.
لا خليه يسألنا بالبريمير.
You know Premiere. Premiere.
Israeli siege against us by coming here. That issue makes us very proud of you and very proud of our students who made it, who made this a great success. Ilham reminds me with the word Ilham. Yesterday, Marcus, we were talking about Ilham, inspiration. Maybe you don't know that her name means inspiration. What you did yesterday and over the past 2 weeks, you were trying to pass this message about the inspiration. هم كانوا يشعروا من اول ما قعدوا معاكم انه في عندكم شيء كثير كبير كثير عظيم انتم حابين انكم توصلوه بس انتم يمكن احيانا كنتوا مترددين.
Coming here every day.
Mm-hmm.
I need to bring them some taxi.
Ah, really? For them? Okay, okay. Okay, here we are. Basically, last day of the project of this amazing work camp that it has been taken 2 weeks. We are basically 14th of August of 2017, and we are in the An-Najal University where we have been doing these workshops about the different topics here in the West Bank, and well. I have to admit, I mean, just we have done quite a lot of stuff. That it's been really a very deep, inspiring experience. We have seen certain situations that they are really very uncomfortable for people who are living over here, and even just for internationals who were coming to see. We have been in a refugee camp here in Nablus, the Balata one, where people, I mean, just for 14 days, for example, they didn't have access to water, where they could expect random military checks inside of their houses for no apparent reason, with a lot of lack of privacy. And on the other hand, we have experienced a lot of emotions by seeing like the sun rising from the Jordan Valley, from being in Palestine and overseeing the Dead Sea down below. And all of this, I mean, just with the amazing work, not
that it has been produced in the Public Relations Department of the National University. We have been in contact with a lot of different communities, like the Samaritans who are here in Nablus, and also we have experienced in the first hand just the military checkpoints inside of a city, like in Hebron city, and well, we have seen the signs of repression, but only for 2 weeks. Imagine how it could be to live like this for your whole life, with having no access to be able to see the sea. There is basically an hour driving from here. For some of the students that will talk with us in that bus to go to the Israeli territories, it was for the first time in 21 years of their lives, they have never seen the Mediterranean Sea. 1 hour driving for here, because they needed a permission that it takes 1 month in advance in order to request it. Sometimes that permission, it gets rejected. For some of them, I mean, just you could see it in their eyes that it was the very first time that they could see the sea, the very looking forward sea that they have in next door. Only why? Because there is a military oppression system, a political one as well, here in this area. That is Israel. And things, it doesn't look that they are going to change much of it. There is also a problem with the water as well in West Bank, with not having any control over the amount of water that is being destined to people who are living in the West Bank. Of course, in the Israeli settlements, they are going to have plenty of water, and of course also of Israelis who are living in outside of the West Bank, they will have also access to free water, but not the Palestinians. Another kind of repression is the technological one. We have seen, for example, that if you are a Palestinian, you need to get just a Palestinian SIM card, that you don't have access not even to 3G, without mentioning even 4G connection. But if you are in Israel living in Palestine, you will have even 4G connection. So technology is here, but only for a few of them. So these are the kind of signs of repression. These are the kind of things that it should make us react and do something about it. And at least there is one thing that I see, there is a bit of hope, and it's basically a good educational system here taking place in the National University. All the work that is being done, I mean, just for bringing students, bringing people from Western countries to see the reality that is living right now here. There is no violence taking place in these places. I mean, just we need to be aware of this. I mean, just there is, let's see, gunshots or like or massacres, as a lot of people are broadcasting in the media. It happened, don't get me wrong, I mean, just, but it's not this, we haven't seen anything on this. I mean, and basically, the light of hope is the education. People who are willing, basically, to be able to have a good education in order to try to make a good way of life here in Palestine. Sadly, most of them, they throw the towel and they don't think that much things cannot change inside of Palestine nowadays, because of also Palestinian corrupt political system that is not helping at all in order to make a good relationship with Israel. Maybe as well because they are most of the students, they are expecting to go to a Western university and maybe find a job over there, but education is quite a key here. So we finish overall, I mean, just with these final thoughts, putting a little bit on writing and also on the video camera. I hope that you will get a better reality right now, and that's all for all. Thank you very much. Alright, here we are at the very last moments of this amazing journey that has been taken a couple of weeks. We are in An-Najal University in a blue city in the West Bank, and basically we have been in a first-hand experience, just seeing exactly what has been happening just in these territories, and we have been in a refugee camp where people with sometimes they don't have access to water for 14 days, or maybe expecting that one day they are going to have a random control by the military in order to make an inspection. And we have seen certain situations that are really very uncomfortable to see it in the first hand, but as I mentioned, only for a couple of weeks, because people who are living here, they see this all the time. We have been in Hebron, which is where like random checkpoints in order to block certain roads for Palestinians have been taking place. Just by only if you are Israeli or you are in an international citizen, you are allowed to walk in that road, but not Palestinians. We have seen, for example, a technological oppression on here. People who are living in Palestine, they don't have access with their mobile phones, not even to 3G connection, without even mentioning 4G. But if you are in Israeli living in Palestine, in the same territory, you will be able to have 4G connection. We have seen restrictions of water, having so much water tanks on the roof that one day you may not have running water. It happened to one of these apartments of our volunteers. They really didn't have any water, and sometimes even no electricity at all. Of course, if you are living in an Israeli settlement in Palestine, you will not have to worry about, because there is always running water. You don't have to rely on the water tanks. We have seen as well military checkpoints from crossing to Palestine to the Israeli territories by showing your passport. We have seen a lot of signs of oppression on territory, on water, on technology, on the freedom of speech. Yeah, we have seen as well. Corrupted corrupted political system in Palestine as well, inside of the different political movements over here, that I think is essential that in order to bring peace to this land and to have a good dialogue and communication with Israel. Sadly, between these two parts, there are nowadays really cannot live together. But we also have seen a bit of light of something that it might be kind of the future of this community, which is basically education. An education like this one that is taking place over here. Now, the students who have very good English level and they know a lot of other languages, and they are studying a proper good education, and they are willing to learn something new. I've been teaching myself social media and how to edit videos just with the most common tools that we are being used in our Western countries, and I have to say their interest in learning this new stuff is really incredible, and that brings a hope in order to make them a better future in this land. Sadly, most of them they will like to go to study abroad in order to expand their minds and also to change the reality over here. Right now it's only a hope, but let's wish that one day this is going to be a reality. Thank you very much.